Hey everybody, Grimels here. So, it has been a few months since my first Star Citizen video, and I thought it is about time I make another one about this upcoming crowdfunded space sim. A short info video for people that are interested in the game, but don't follow its development too closely, and to talk about a thing or two that is known about the game so far. You can also find this information on the website or the Star Citizen YouTube channel, but again, this is more for people that don't follow the game too closely. Now, as you probably know, it is planned to release a few modules of the game to the pledgers in an early alpha stage, so that the pledgers can take a look, provide some feedback and be part of the development. A few months ago, the hangar module, which you can see here, was released and since then updated a few times. I can't show you the fighters in action yet, because the module for the dogfight testing is not released yet, but I can show you a bit of the ship customization, and I will play around with it while I explain a bit about it. Keep in mind though, all of this is alpha or even pre-alpha and only shows a small part of what will be possible in the final product. So, no space combat in this video. However, the release of the dogfight module is scheduled for December, so if everything goes as planned, I should be able to show you the spacecraft in action soon. As far as I know, it is not set in stone yet what will all be in the first release of the dogfight module, but it looks like at first it will be fighting versus AI-controlled opponents, so that later when we get the multiplayer battles, the actual backend and netcode that will be used in the finished game's persistent universe is ready to be tested as well. Just like the hangar module, the dogfight module will start out simple and get more complex over time, so I hope we get to do some multiplayer fighting in the not too distant future. Now let's summarize a few things which we can take a look at in the hangar module, in this case the ship customization. There will of course be a lot of different weapons and missile types, like projectile weapons, laser weapons and some others as well, and different ammunition types for them. And they will have different effects of course, like projectile weapons would be better versus shields and laser better versus armor. I have currently mostly laser weapons to play with in my hangar, but when the Super Hornet was first introduced into the hangar module, it came with kinetic weapons as well, really nice big Gatling guns. I did not have a chance to record them while they were still in the game, but I made a few screenshots before they were removed, and I want to show them because it really shows off the level of detail the game is going for. I was really impressed when I saw those weapons. Sadly though, it seems they came with the fighter by mistake. The top turret that comes with the Super Hornet is actually a laser turret, so the guns were replaced with lasers, which also look great but don't have quite the same coolness factor than the huge Gatling guns. Of course, that does not mean that you can't fit those Gatling guns in the final game on this ship. You certainly can do it on the wing mounts. Let me give you a short overview on how those hard points work. And keep in mind of course, it's alpha and subject to change, and there is a chance that I might have missed some information. Now, the gun mounts have a class as well as a size limit. The size limit is self-explanatory. Not every hardpoint can carry the largest weapons. In case of the Hornet, the wing mounts can carry pretty big cannons. The mounts in the nose, on the other hand, can only mount small ones. Now, the class explains what it can do. A Class 1 hardpoint, for example, is just a fixed forward-firing mount for a cannon. A Class 2 would be a swivel mount with a larger arc of fire than a fixed one, and a Class 3 would be a mount for missile racks, for example. A lot of slots on the ships are multi-purpose, but not all. The gun mounts in the nose of the Hornet or the whisker mounts on the Aurora, for example, can only fit small guns, nothing else will fit there. The slots on the wings of the Hornet, however, are more multi-purpose. They can fit different cannon as well as missile hardpoints. The Super Hornet comes with Class 2A cannon hardpoints in these wing slots, which means it can fit cannons up to size 3, and they will be able to swivel a bit to the side because they are Class 2. But this Class 2A mount could be replaced with a missile mount, or for example a cheaper fixed Class 1 hardpoint, which might be able to carry bigger guns. The large turret slot in the middle is even more customizable. It can fit of course different gun turrets, which then, depending on the type of the turret, can fit different cannons. But you can also use this slot for cargo bots, that is what the F-7C Hornet has equipped in its standard configuration, or radar, ECM and stealth equipment. So you can see there is quite a few options available here. Missiles work similar. My Aurora got a Class 3 mount on the roof, that is for missile racks. I currently have a rack with 4 rails I can mount. I assume there will be a lot of different racks in the final game, some with fewer rails that carry larger missiles or rocket bots, and racks with more rails for smaller missiles. After the 4-rail rack is mounted, I can put a missile on every rail individually. That means that I will be able to either fit 4 missiles of the same type or a different missile on every rail, as long as the size is correct. That should make for some very interesting loadout options. Now let's talk about the so-called power chain of the ship, basically the energy and propulsion system. The chain has 4 main components: hydrogen intakes, modifiers, the engine and thrusters. The first link in the chain, the hydrogen intake's job, is to collect hydrogen for your engine to burn. Now, they can't collect enough hydrogen to completely cover your engine's fuel consumption, they can only supplement it. You still need a fuel tank and you are still able to run out of fuel. More effective hydrogen intakes increase your range, but also your ship's signature, so it is easier to detect. That means for a short-range fighter, for example, you maybe want scoops that do not provide so much fuel, but make you harder to spot by giving you a smaller signature. On a long-range trade ship, you want a very effective scoop that increases your range and makes your ship more economical because you have to buy less fuel. The next link in the chain are modifiers. Those are modules like afterburners or other modifications to your engine. After that we got the engine itself. Here we also have different variations available that vary in power output and fuel economy. The last link in the chain are the main and maneuvering thrusters. Thrusters can of course have different power, in the game called thruster ratings, and they can have a different articulation. For example, they can be fixed or they can have thrust vectoring. The Hornet's main thruster has thrust vectoring. I assume you will be able to switch that with a fixed but more powerful main thruster to get more speed but less maneuverability, for example. There are also multiple maneuvering thrusters on the ship, which can all be replaced with thrusters of a different kind to change the ship's handling. Other effects that different thrusters might have is a different fuel consumption and therefore an impact on your range, or a bigger or smaller signature, important for your ship's stealth characteristics. Now, that was an overview on the ship customization on Star Citizen, and this is it for this video. As always, I hope it was informative, thanks for watching and maybe I'll see you next time.